Hornady Ammunition presents American Roots Outdoors Radio with Alex Rutledge. I'm Red Bull Mike Cray. So, Alex, we got Rob Elder is going to be joining us here in just a couple of minutes to talk about this issue and the continuing evolving story of Missouri feral hog hunters and now county officials who are fighting back against the federal government and their plan to prohibit feral hog hunting on government land. And Rob is, kind of the guy that we go to, and he's in the middle of that because he is an avid and a very compassionate hog hunter. And he wants, to work with the government to try and make it better for everybody and use the two tools, trapping and hunting, to kind of get rid of this feral hog problem, which is becoming a huge problem in some parts of the country.
Redbone, I get to talk to a lot of people on the streets, living in Shannon County, and I go to all the surrounding counties, and I talk to a lot of people. And it seems like to me a majority of the people that I talk to, and I say majority, I'm going to say about 85% of the people I talk to are really upset with MDC. I'm not saying I'm upset or you're upset. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. They're upset over the right to be able to hunt these hogs. So I think MDC, if I may suggest this, and Missouri Dog Alliance, hog hunters, feral hog hunters, whatever, need to really meet and try to work something out, because the secret to success of any relationship is communication. There's not good communication, there's going to be trouble. And we don't want trouble. We all want to get along. We all want to reach the common goal.
Someone who is become very familiar here on the American Roots Outdoors radio show, we have Rob Elder from Greenville, Missouri on the line. Rob, how you doing?
I'm just happy on my journey, Mike. How about you?
Well, kind of the same way. Isn't this weather so much better than it was a week ago?
Oh, yes, it is. It's beautiful here in around Greenville today.
All right, so as Alex and I talked about in the opening segment of the show, this is an ongoing story, and folks, what we're going to focus here on is the feral hog problem in Missouri, and I guess the best way to put it is kind of a tug-of-war going on between feral hog hunters and the federal government about whether or not we should be allowed to hunt feral hogs on government land. Is that a fair way to put it, Rob?
Yes, I would say so. I would like to ingest something right there, and I think I shared it with you, and I know I shared it with Alex. We would love to sit down and have a discussion or a debate, however they want to put it, with like three of our experts, with three of theirs. Mm-hmm. And I still believe we're part of the solution. Well, we got to work together. Sure.
Yeah, and when you say we, you're talking about guys that hunt feral hogs. And for folks that have not heard you on the show before, Rob is a hardcore feral hog hunter. I mean, you hunt feral hogs pretty much year-round, don't you?
Yes. Just my hunting group alone has killed way over 1,000 hogs in the last 15 years.
To play the devil's advocate here, Rob, and then we're going to get into the meat of the situation. So for 15 years, you've been hunting them. You've killed about 1,000, or your group has, and yet they're still becoming a problem. Hunters can't control this issue.
No, they cannot. Nor can trapping control it.
Right. So it really, in your opinion, and I think in the opinion of those of us with American roots, it's going to have to take both.
Yes. With my experience, and I told you before, I've trapped too, and you need to trap the hogs. But, I'm just going to express my opinion, which a lot of people do nowadays. 80% of what is trapped is juvenile hogs, and 80% of what hunters kill is the adult hogs. So there's your problem and your solution. You go in and you trap the juveniles, and you've left 3 sows out there, and you bring the dog hunters in, and even if you can get 2 of them, you're starting to gain control.
Right.
I say again, eradication will never come before you get that 70% of the hogs removed.
Yeah, since we talked, and I know you were on the show 2 weeks ago, since then, the number has grown greatly, I would imagine, because, these hogs, they have 3 litters. And, you're talking, I know wild hogs don't have as many as domesticated hogs, but probably, 8 to 10 piglets, and there probably have been hundreds of them that have done that just in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I will say, and this is more factual than estimate, of those 1,000 hogs we killed, 80% of those probably were sows, or sows with pigs, or sows that were going to have pigs, because I have to say again, common sense should tell people which one is going to stop running first, so the dogs can get it.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big old fat old hog.
Yeah, and the big fat pregnant one that can't run or got little pigs that she's trying to protect.
Yeah. All right, so Rob, let's talk about these developments that have happened here in the last couple of weeks, and one of them is the fact that county commissioners in southern Missouri are starting to get on board with the fact that they do not want to see the federal government ban the hunting of hogs in or on federal property.
You're absolutely right. That map that I showed you, the ones that are highlighted in yellow, that is where basically, I'm going to use the phrase where the rubber hits the highway. These people, most of them either join some kind of state property or federal property, and when they're no longer allowed to protect their own property on this federal property, then they're going to be in down on one knee for help of these 55 trappers that we got that's got 1,000 square miles per trapper to cover, and again, that there's too many areas too remote that you can't get traps to.
Right.
But these county commissioners have gotten together, and I will say that some of the areas like Samuel Baker State Park, Peck Ranch, Mingo, Current River, Big Springs, Tom Salk, Johnson Shut-In State Park, none of those places have allowed hunting since 2016, and they have some of the largest hog populations in the state.
Wow.
So without this coordinated effort, and I think I've said before, it's worked, in other places, but these county commissioners, they understand this because they actually do have hogs around where they live. Some of the northern parts of the state where the hogs haven't reached yet, they don't understand what is happening when you're trapping the juveniles and leaving the sows out there. It's just a domino effect. Again, that's what I believe is you have to use all the tools in the toolbox, because I just put it simply, there's places you cannot get a trap. There's places that you can't run a dog. There's places I won't run my dogs because it's close to a 4-lane highway. I don't want to get them ran over. So then you need to use another avenue. Maybe you need to shoot them with night vision. But you definitely need to try to trap what you can. But when you don't trap those hogs, then they have become trap wise, and you can leave your trap sitting there for 6 months and they still won't go in it.
Yeah.
So it's a good goal to say we want to catch the entire sounder, but if we were doing that, we wouldn't be going back year after year. And these county commissioners and these landowners in these areas understand what is going on, and our state representative put out a deal that she doesn't want any more hog safe havens. This problem, it's all across the southern United States. And just to be honest, it's their own bureaucracy that's caused this problem. We put a man on the moon and we can't get rid of these hogs, and I could go on and tell you about why. It's because of the funding money that all the states get for the hogs, and and it just creates a nightmare for the people that have to deal with them.
Sure. And folks, we're talking about 21 counties, which are basically south central and to the east, and then to the north as far as Franklin County. And Rob, I just want to mention a few of these. Ozark, Douglas, Wright, Texas, Howell, Oregon, Shannon, Carter, Ripley, Butler, Wayne, Iron, Dent, Laclede, Pulaski, Maries, along with Crawford, Washington, Franklin, and St. Genevieve County, have all officially gone on the record as they oppose the ban on hunting the feral hogs on federal land.
Yes, absolutely, and they have sent this to Senator Blunt, Hawley, the Missouri State Senators and Missouri Representatives, the governor, to the Mark Twain National Forest, and that's not the only petitions that have went out. There's also been some 900 emails sent from the Calvary group to the same people, along with President Trump.
Wow.
That and a lot of these people have experienced some of the same things. And the Calvary group, I don't know exactly where they're located at, but they're a very large organization. And I'll just put it like Congressman Smith said: without using all the tools in the toolbox, this epidemic's not going to get any better. If we can't work together, then we're going to be the ones that lose.
Yeah, because, and we talked before, because the damage, because they're not going to stay on the federal land. They're going to journey out into farms and indoor state parks and national parks and all that stuff, and just create havoc. Are you surprised that some of these southwest Missouri counties are not jumping on board this petition?
Yes, actually, I am, especially the ones that border along the northern part of the state of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're bound to have hog problems there, but maybe they don't. I don't think some of them fully understood, what this petition
mm-hmm.
that the county commissioners put together actually was for.
Yeah, and it may be a matter of there's not a whole lot of national forest land in that part of the state. I mean, that could be some of it too. At least not as much as South Central and Central Missouri, and even to the southeast.
Yeah, well, you may absolutely be right about that.
So, Rob, this kind of pick up. I know you had several things that you wanted to talk about today and some information concerning the ban and the fight, which seems to be gaining steam, not to ban feral hog hunting on government land. So, I mean, what else can you tell us about the whole issue?
There has been lots and lots of comments opposing the ban on the federal forest, and we mm-hmm. have somewhat of a record of that. And I'll express my opinion on that. It'll get down to whether or not we're being represented or we're being ruled. There is one thing I would like to share. I think this is a very pertinent part of this information, and this kind of covers the entire United States and the problem and the solution with a lot of this. Could I share that?
Sure, absolutely.
Anybody that's somewhat familiar with it, you'll find out that we estimate that there's 1 million hogs freely roaming in the United States, and they're doing an estimated $2 billion in damages. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to import. I just seen a deal a few weeks ago where President Trump is going to spend $50 million to import pork to put in food banks, which is a good thing. I'm all about feeding hungry people. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem that difficult to me if we would, instead of claiming these hogs to be the disease-ridden creatures of the 20th century that don't carry any diseases that any other hogs carry, and scaring people with things like leptospirosis and, I do have Google. I can look that kind of stuff up. My dog can carry leptospirosis, and brucellosis is not harmful for human consumption. Pseudorabies causes low birth rate and cause them to be sterile. I don't really think that's happening in our hogs.
Right.
Anyway, so here we go. We got 1 million of them roaming around freely. We got hungry people, but we're on this march to exterminate all these perfectly edible hogs. That we don't
mm-hmm.
we don't check our wildlife. Our own conservation's solution to deer is don't eat a sickly looking deer. There's not one recorded case of death of somebody eating a feral hog in the United States. So if we take these 1 million hogs that's roaming around, doing $2 billion worth of damage, we could save the $75 million that's in the farm bill to get rid of them. We could save the $50 million that's being spent to bring in food banks. Then we'll stop the damage.
So everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
And the hogs are put to good use. They feed the hungry people. And I think most people, there is some hardcore people, but I said before, I've been a little harsh with the Department of Conservation. I think we want the same things. We just got different ideas about how to do it.
Right.
We're trying something that they claim has never been tried before. Well, trapping has been around for 100 years.
Right.
And if we were trapping the entire sounder, I wouldn't disagree with the fact that's the best way to get rid of them, but the fact of the matter is we're not.
One of the things I think about when I think about this issue, and I've never gone on government property and hunted feral hogs, I've never seen one in the wild. Places I hunt, they're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yet. I anticipate they probably will one of these days, and probably, I'm going to shoot them on sight because I only hunt on private land, and that's okay. But, this has been an issue, from Texas through Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, have all had this issue. And so far, nobody's been able to stop it or even slow it down. You would think somewhere along the line that they would see that this is a problem that is growing and growing expeditiously into the interior of our nation and will continue to grow to the west and continue to grow to the east and to the north when it's going to become a nationwide problem. So really, like you said, we need to use all the tools in the toolbox to fix this problem.
I'm glad you said that, Alex. I've said for the last 10, 15 years that I really wish somebody with enough political clout would get involved in this and say, we're going to solve this problem. Let's bring people in here and let's have a civil conversation about what we need to do. I know how to take care of what's in my backyard, and you do yours. But, one shoe don't fit the same people.
Right.
Hunting with well-trained dogs is very effective. It always has been. Hunters are very effective in what they do. Trapping is effective. In certain places, helicopter gunning is effective. When you get out in Kansas, you can deplete the hogs' helicopters because, their national flower is a tree.
Yeah.
But, we live in the Ozark Mountains. It's a little different story.
Right. Well, I know in Texas, in Texas they use the helicopters a lot, and they kill a lot of hogs, but it is still a major problem in Texas.
You're right, and it's a very effective tool in areas where you can use it. If I'm not mistaken, sometime next month, I think they're supposed to fly the second or third helicopter flight over the Mingo National Wildlife Refuge this year. And with all the foliage on the trees and leaves, I don't know how well that's going to work out.
Anyway, because those hogs are pretty smart.
Yeah. I think I've said this before, but they get wise to whatever you do. They get wise to the dogs, but I still say they hadn't figured out how not to leave their scent when they go through the woods where a dog can go and find them.
Right.
You can't draw those hogs more than a couple 100 yards to bait when there's acorns out in the woods. It just won't happen.
Yep, I agree. All right, so, Rob, tell me, for people out there that want to delve further into this, where can they go? I mean, is there a good resource for that?
Yes, the Texas A&M Ag University, that's what they do. They do all kinds of studies on all kinds of different things. Warfarin, that they had a feeder that was fixed up to where it would, if the hog didn't make a certain noise, the feeder wouldn't open up, so therefore coons and stuff couldn't get in it. But the problem wound up being that when they were using the warfarin on the hogs, then other things was eating it and it was killing them. So,
wow.
But they done studies on that. And then they done studies on hog hunting. And, the Texas A&M Ag University says that hunters can remove 24% of the hog population. So if you can remove 40% or 50% by trapping, then you got you're close to your 70% to start to control them.
Yeah.
Saying we're going to eradicate the hogs and we've never controlled them yet is like getting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, I would think so. All right, Rob, we're out of time. We appreciate you being on the show. Dan, folks, if you are concerned about this issue, let your county commissioners know, let your state representatives know, let your U.S. congressman know. And, of course, I think everybody knows how to go about that these days.